Hey everyone, here's an ILLIUM training guide for level 200 to 250. If you want a level 1 to 199 guide, it's pretty much the same as my Adele training guide, which is going to be linked in the description. This is going to cover the maps and most useful skills that you'll want to use, and ILLIUM's a little weird, so let's do a quick skill overview first. Now, in order to learn how to play ILLIUM for the first time, like actually learn how to play it, I had to play with skill opacity on. And we will have skill opacity on here, of course, as well. So, going job by job here. You're going to want Radiant Javelin and Radiant Orb on comfortable keys for you. I have them on Control and Z for me, that's just what works out. Radiant Javelin is going to be your main skill that you're going to be using to hit. Radiant Orb has AoE uses in later jobs. EX is a summon that you can't put on your pet auto buffs, which is unfortunate, but he only really needs to be used once, which we'll explain later. Crystalline Wings is your teleport on the grounds. It's also your ability to just fly. You hold that button down and do directions, and you can fly for a while. It's pretty cool. It's pretty unique. I like it quite a bit. Job 2, you get Deploy Crystal, which you saw me do here. This is our crystal. If you press Deploy Crystal again and move around, if you hold down and press Deploy Crystal, it'll instantly blink there instead of doing a slide like it is here. If you hold up, it'll teleport on top of your player character. I mostly just press it a lot to make it go left and right without bothering with the down or the up inputs. And you also want that on a comfortable key. So Radiant Javelin, Deploy Crystal, and Radiant Orb, all three of those skills you're going to want near each other and comfortable. You're going to mostly be pushing Deploy Crystal and Radiant Javelin, but Radiant Orb, again, is going to have some big AoE skills. So in second job, you get these reaction skills. So if I hit the crystal with Radiant Javelin or Radiant Orb here, it does a big AoE effect like that, and that does hit quite a few mobs and is quite useful. If you do the Radiant Orb instead, it does another different AoE, and these have relatively short cooldowns, as you can see them ticking up here. It's hard to keep track of it all at the same time, but you get kind of understand a rhythm once you start to play the class a little bit more. And of course, if I go to a map that has mobs, just go over here in a sphere real quick, since that's where it put me out. If I attack the Radiant Javelin, why am I saying Radiant Javelin so much? Fuck. If you use Radiant Javelin, it will bounce between enemies. It's kinda hard to see because I'm one-shotting these guys, but you get bounces for hitting enemies and then going to your crystal orb here. You kind of always want to target your crystal orb and move around with it like I'm doing right now. On maps where you do need to move around anyway, I try to not move around on an ILLIUM because it has a toolkit that makes it so you don't really need to do that. You get these crystal skills. You have a crystal gauge up here. At each bar, you can use each crystal skill of each job that you get. Machina is another summon that you really only have to cast once you're in 5th job. And this does not consume crystal charge meter, but you can only use it once per cycle. The first one you get is just kind of an AoE. The second one you get recovers MP. Well, I guess HP, huh? Yeah, this recovers HP, excuse me. And the next one you get is it combines your 2 robots. And when you combine your 2 robots together that you have out, you can only use this skill when you're at the last segment of the crystal charge and you have both of your summons out. When this skill is done after the 30 seconds, both of your summons come back out with full duration. So a lot of ILLIUM is, you know, charging up that crystal by just using your regular attacks and using those crystal skills, and you won't ever have to cast your summons more than once after you log in or start training. It's quite nice. And then really you just get a lot of skill upgrades every job. There's not a lot to talk about here other than obviously the flight skill. So ILLIUM's signature is you can fly around and you can teleport really fast with it, or you can use your radiant javelin to do huge AoE. I'll usually save this if I want to go loot a map because you can just go wherever you want. You also get a skill that you can press that just does a burst of damage to everything on the screen, although I usually stay away from that when I'm just training. So that's your Wings of Glory skill. That's pretty cool. You get that in third job. And then Longinus Spear, I don't really use training or really bossing because I'm bad, but I think that you can get away with not needing this while you're training. Everything else here is pretty much not needed. Oh, Flash Crystal Battery is what I used to just get my charge all the way so I could use the wings. You have to have a full charge for wings. So every 3 minutes you can get a full charge with this skill, so it's nice to have this hotkeyed. And this can be reset with skill resets, inner ability, or monster life stuff like Shade. I would honestly consider getting that as your inner ability. Now let's talk about 5th job, and then I'll go back to hypers since I already opened this up. You're going to want Radiant Javelin, your Machina Robot, your Reaction Destruction, your Deus Ex, and that's probably all you really want for training. Is there an orb skill that I'm missing? There is probably. I do not see Radiant Orb anywhere here. Can you do Radiant Orb? Let's find out. No. So you don't need to worry about that. So yeah, Radiant Javelin, your Robot, and your Reaction. Both of the robot skills. You can probably skip Umbral Brand and Longinus Spear if you're just trying to train this to 200 or 250. Well, 250 I guess since your 5th job. Your 5th job skills, Templar Knight. Honestly, fucking amazing AoE skill. Your AoE goes nuts in 5th job, by the way. You can just plop that down and he'll just go and he'll just attack and he'll just shoot all the way across the map. And he'll do more damage if you get 3 charges on your crystal before he shoots. You get 1 charge for Radiant Javelin and 2 charges for Radiant Orb. So you can Javelin Orb and he'll be powered up each strike. He's pretty good. He lasts 40 seconds as well. Crystal Gate is also crazy AoE. So if I use this and I stand on top of it, I get a buff that lets that happen. All of those, like, portal satellite attacks. That's because I have that buff on. You can just stand still and attack and they'll go crazy, or you can go around the map, obviously, but you do need to go touch your Crystal Gate again if you want to get the buff again. This almost has 100% uptime. Just make sure that you have it. It's so good. I don't have the skill maxed out. It's only level 13 and it's almost 100% uptime. It's so good. And you can have 3 of them down, and as soon as you put a second one down and a third one down, then you can teleport between them with like a 2-second cooldown. So think of the possibilities on maps that are bigger. You can place these pretty far apart and just attack, teleport, attack, teleport, attack, teleport. So Crystal Gate is very, very strong. Even if you're not using it for the teleports, you want to at least be putting 1 of them down just so you can get that AoE satellite effect. Another skill that's going to make your AoE go nuts is the Crystalline Spirit. So if I press that, I get a fake crystal orb that I can now bounce skills off of and do the destruction and reaction skills off of. And I can have 2 out at a time, and I get charges every 15 seconds. And they last for 30 seconds. No, it's every 20 seconds I get 1. So these have pretty much 100% uptime. You'll always have at least 1 out. And most of what I'll do is I'll stand in the middle of a platform, I'll put both of them out, and I'll cycle between using my javelin, and I'll cycle between using my radiant orb. And I'll get those big AoE skills out, and it's a really good time. The boss buster skill is Crystal Ignition. Watch my MP here with Mana Overload on. So you saw that when I was shooting the crystal, it did an AoE attack, so you can kind of like do a left, right, left, right, left, right up to like 5 times to get that AoE skill to go off, or you can just use it to kill elite mobs when they spawn in. Honestly, that's mostly what I used it for. And other than that, that's about it for skills there. Let's do hypers. Longinus Zone, you won't really use training, but it's a iframe that will also attack at the same time. Divine Wrath is the 10% class skill. Crystalline Bulwark is an iframe that's really good that you won't really use training. Passive hypers, reinforce the javelin. Get the extra attack count on the javelin. Longinus cooldown I have just because I was playing around with that in bossing. It's very good. And extra strike on Deus Ex, also very good. You might consider getting reinforce on Deus instead of the Longinus cooldown for training, just because I think you'll get more bang for your buck out of it, but really you can't go too wrong. As long as you're just getting the damage percent skills here. And that is ILLIUM skills and kind of how to play ILLIUM. So let's move on to the training guide now. ILLIUM is a bit weird, and honestly I would play with a little bit of opacity so you can like figure out what the fuck is going on, because otherwise it's like really hard to tell like where your crystals are. So if I turn it down right now, it's like nearly invisible, and you need to be attacking those and getting your bounces off and your destructions off, and it's just really, really hard to see those unless you have it up at least a little bit. But I'll keep it fully opaque for the sake of this video. This is going to be similar-ish to my Adele and my Arc, but it is a little bit deviated at certain points. The first few zones are gonna be kind of the same as they typically are here. So I like Below the Cave. It's a good level 200 to 205 map. You can put down your crystal gates and you can attack, and you can crystal gate, and you can attack, and you can crystal gate, and you can attack, and you can crystal gate, and you can cover the whole map just by teleporting through your crystal gates, which have nearly a 100% uptime as a reminder. So, and because you're also just standing on the crystal gates, you keep refreshing that satellite attack buff. And it's a good time. So at 205, we're gonna go back to Old Reliable. We love Hidden Research Train, which I, for some reason, did not do on this character when I was lower level, but I did not know of its glory. Same kind of shenanigans. Here you might even just stand in like a spot and put your crystal gates down and just attack left and right with your javelin and with your radiant orb. Now the radiant orb is going to favor going to where the real crystal is. You can't like cheese it to go to one of your fake crystals. Like your javelin will just go to the fake crystals no matter what. So that's kind of why I bounced the ball back and forth. You could also set up your gates. You could have a crystal gate right here where I'm standing, and you could have a crystal gate like right here where I'm standing. Attack right, left, use the crystal gate, attack right, left, and do that until you're 215, honestly. Until you can go to Yum Yum Island, Old Reliable, Yum Yum Hidden, Illiard Field, or Kumpiders. I really like these maps where you can just not move and kill the whole map as an ILLIUM. Put your crystals out on either side of you. And why does no one play this class? Why does no one play this class? It's the laziest, best AoE mobber in the fucking world. Please play ILLIUM. Please make me happy. It's so fucking good. So yeah, you're gonna train here. Sorry, I got a little excited there. Until you're 220. And then Latchline is gonna be a little bit more of the old reliable stuff. You can choose to do red dancing shoes if you are not a fan of them stunning you like they will sometimes. We can go to some other maps, but again, you just set up your crystals, you stand kind of in the middle, and you just let all your bounces do what they need to do, let all your AoE destruction skills do what they need to do with your javelin and your radiant orb here. And that's a dude that's trying to KS an Illium. And they're about to learn that is no easy feat. Or they're just macroing and set their macro off and have no idea that there's someone on this map because they're probably in a Meso Mafia guild. Why do people do this? Is he about to give up? I think he's about to give up. I can't leave until he gives up. Leave. Leave, sir. Nope. He's turned a macro on or something. Alright, well. On with the video. Outlaw Street 1 and 2 can be okay, although I do like that red shoes map. You can kind of just sit in the middle here and just let her rip. I love Illium. Illium is so lazy and good at mobbing. All of the bounces are amazing. Like, I'm not even using the Crystal Gate teleport, and I'm destroying pretty much the whole map with these skills, just because of the way they bounce and interact with the world. If I had the Crystal Gate in this map, I would probably just use it to get the buff for the satellite attack. So now we're 225, and I can show you a forever map for Illium. Try to find an empty Labyrinthine Cavern here. Yeah, you just want to stand in the middle. You just want to stand in the middle. You put your crystals out. Very good. And you just attack left and right with your crystals out. And you can kill the whole map. And sometimes you put your big ol' 5th job robot out. And he clears an entire side for you. He'll usually gravitate towards attacking the side that you are on of him. So he's attacking left while I'm on the left side of him, and so I'm attacking to the right to clear the right side here. This fucking class is amazing. You could train here until 250. I trained here sometimes when I couldn't find a map with a high burn. It was great. I would honestly just use Labyrinthine Cavern. It's that good. Oh god, he's loud. Yeah, so Labyrinthine Cavern is your forever home, or if you get bored of it, which it's fast training, I wouldn't get bored of it. We're gonna skip Morass. Morass is too big, and Illium likes to sit in a spot. You could try Mirror Touch C2. I did for a bit, but then I just went back to Labyrinthine Cavern because it was just that fucking good. You can kind of do the same thing with your crystals out here. You might struggle a little bit to hit the top platforms unless you put your crystal a little bit higher like this. Because it will bounce up there if it's a little bit higher, but you kind of gotta micromanage it a little bit more. You gotta jump a bit to put the fake crystals down. You could theoretically try Mirror Touch C7. But I would honestly even still just stick to Labyrinthine Cavern. It is such a good map. You need to kind of be a little more active on this map, despite how many mobs there are on it. So it's not really my favorite. I like to just sit in a spot on Illium and just turn my brain off and watch YouTube on the side, honestly. Celis has good maps. PD4, I say maps, plural. Love that Hyper Rock bug. Celis. PD4. Plunging Depths 4 is really good on Illium. Plunging Depths 4 probably rivals Labyrinthine Cavern in how good it is. You just put your crystals out on either side again here, and in the middle, put your crystal gate, and you just let the bounces and the crystal gate satellite AoE take care of the top platforms there. And I again question reality and why there are so few people who play Illium, because this class trains so fast and is actually pretty fun to boss on, because you can just fly over the boss's bullshit that he's doing and just ignore him all the time, and it's great. Please play Illium. Hashtag please hyperburn in Illium. So yeah, you could stay here until 250 if you wanted to. I tried to do Void Current 3, but it just wasn't as comfy as Plunging Depths 4 or Labyrinthine Cavern once you're 245. Plunging Depths 4 and Labyrinthine Cavern just are equivalent rivals to each other, so you could come here if you get bored, or if you want to start getting familiar cards. It's another valid reason to come here, but if you're just going for EXP, just stick to Celis or even Arcana, which is crazy to say at 245, but that's just how good Illium is on that map. And I have yet to train my Illium in Labyrinthine Cavern at all, so I don't know any maps in here that are good for you. But hopefully that helps you all get to 250 on your Illium. Please make an Illium, I beg of you. It's so much fun. The AoE is great. And, again, like, make sure you get your Holy Symbol and your Erda Shower as well, just to get more EXP and more AoE. Not that Illium really needs the extra AoE, but every little bit helps, right? Mana Overload for the little bit of extra final damage, just as an easy toggle here. And that concludes the Please Play an Illium training guide, and I hope to see all of you playing an Illium by the next time a burning event comes around. Oh wait, that's tomorrow. Please make an Illium tomorrow. Alright, see y'all in the next video. Hope that, in all seriousness, I hope this video helped you, and if you have any other suggestions for training areas, hit me up. I'd love to know optimal areas. Peace out.